Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. You're with me, Anupama, and as I always tell you, and we have Dananjaya Hettiarachchi on our show today. Well, he's not new on the show. We are talking about overcoming adversity.
Correct.
And achieving your goals through overcoming adversity as well. So we were speaking about the youth of the country and the problems they face, and just you gave three, methods or ways of looking at it, and steps that you can take to really overcome adversity when you're just a school-going student, when you're a student. But then students grow up and they leave school and they think school is hard, and then they enter what we call the job market.
Right. Yeah.
And
the real world.
Wow, I wish I was back doing my A-levels at this point. But so when it comes to the real world, I mean, you must have seen so many examples of people who are facing a lot of challenges when it comes to achieving what they want in life. So any advice, or what are your insights on that?
I think that topic is something very close to my heart, because when I started my career, I was in recruitment, and I was responsible for recruiting a lot of kids out of university. And it's just the amount of disappointment that a person goes through of not having a job is just massive, and that's something that I can directly relate to. But I think adversity in your young adult life is something that really molds you for a greater purpose, or molds you for a greater goal in life. Probably the first thing I want to talk about is how hard you're trying. A lot of kids they get in touch with me. They say, "Look, Dananjaya, I'm looking for a job. Can you?" And so I ask them, right? Have you tried applying? And they say, "Yeah, I've tried." I say, "How many places have you tried?" It's like 4. I'm like,
okay, that's not enough.
That's not trying. That's not trying. Let me give you this example of. I have a great friend called Sajid Iqbal. Sajid Iqbal now is a second officer at Sri Lankan Airlines. He's an amazing guy. So if you're watching, a big hi.
Shout out to Sadiq.
And this guy was. Let me tell you his story. It's an amazing story. He was, he was destined to inherit his father's business. So Sajid's dad was someone who sold recycled goods. So his dad used to have a small van. He used to pick up stuff from factories and then go resell it, and recycle it and then make some money off that. So Sajid was kind of destined to inherit that. But Sajid, and Sajid's dream was to be a pilot, right? And you could see how far these two goals are, right? From selling recycled material to pilot is like if you're in Colombo, your dream is somewhere in Jaffna, right? I mean, that's how far it is. And we were trying to convince him, back in the day when we were like, there's no chance that you would ever be a pilot. So why don't you focus on the business? Let's grow that business. Focus. And he said, yeah. And then, towards university, a lot of us went out, and then, this guy went missing. Right? Went missing, right?
You couldn't
for like
find
2
him anywhere.
years. Like we're calling him, he's not answering his phone, not answering his email.
Even to his parents?
No. So I'll come to that.
Right. Okay.
So then I decided, look, I can't get in touch with him. My friends don't know where he is. Let me go give him a call his parents. Right? So we call up his parents, and his parents said, look, Sajid is in America. Right?
Okay, without telling anyone.
Sajid is in America. So I'm like, what is he doing in America? And he said, he's gone to get his first pilot license.
Wow.
So I'm like, how did you go? Because he didn't have any money, right? So he said he's borrowed from his relations, put together a little bit of money, gotten in debt, and actually gone to some, forsaken place in Texas. So 6 months go by, and I get a call from Sajid. It's like, buddy, I'm in Texas, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and he's got like his first pilot license, right?
Wow.
Then he comes back, and listen to this. Then he comes back. Now he has to sit for the Sri Lankan Airlines exam, right? So he gets on LinkedIn, finds a pilot, follows him, pesters him for 3 months, right? Gets his notes, gets his books, camps outside his house, and studies for his exam.
Wow.
Gets through the Sri Lankan exam. It's a real story. And 5 people get selected. Now, the final...
I know how competitive that particular program is.
Right? And the final exam is you got to go to Singapore for a simulator test, right? So if you have money, you could book the simulator and clock some hours in Singapore, right? But Sajid didn't have that money. I saw this, and this is a real story. You know how he prepared for that simulator test? He was playing flight simulator on his computer. I was there. I saw this to my own eyes.
Wow.
The guy's clicking on his old computer. I think it was a Celeron 700, and and he's like, he goes to Singapore, sits the exam. 2 people get selected that year, and Sajid Iqbal becomes one.
Wow.
And today he's a second officer in Sri Lankan Airlines. And now that's what you call trying.
Yeah.
Trying is not just simply sending a CV to a company and then really expecting the job to land on your laps. You got to get up and really pursue through adversity.
Definitely.
To achieve.
If you want an example of adversity,
to achieve what you love, right? And then that's how you got to go about achieving your employment. Because today it's not easy. Everybody's overqualified. Everyone's doing things faster, and and a lot of us we give up because we don't have that desire to really face that adversity and like spearhead through all of those challenges.
Is that what you think the problem is between achieving your goal and starting to go there?
I think
you told us before the show that most people actually give up at the last moment.
They do, and I've seen a lot of people join the corporate sector with a lot of talent. They're hard workers. They've got a lot of potential, but what happens is they're just not prepared or not geared, or they don't have that thick skin necessary to face some of the big challenges in corporate companies. Dealing with, number one, politics within organizations. I've seen a lot of talent being wasted due to corporate politics. Now, so there are 2 options, right? Corporate politics is never going to go away, right? So you got 2 options. Either you quit your job, which most people do, or you drive through those politics. You develop that thick skin, you develop that maturity of smiling and saying yes to everybody and then doing whatever you want.
Is that really what you have to do now?
That's really what you got to say yes sir, smile, and then do whatever you want. Right?
I think that's what Steve Jobs also said, or Johnny Depp, someone like that.
And people who are really talented. I face this myself. Have a real tough time doing it, right? And at the end of the day, people who persevere are the people who can manage the politics, the office dynamics, the challenges, the stress, and really not let it affect them per se. Now, the other option is, you could quit your job and follow your dream of doing something that you love. With the 2 options available, but in between these 2 options, there is a 40%, a good chunk that actually dies before they realize their potential.
Just 40 though.
Yeah,
Isn't 40 enough though?
No, what I'm saying is, what happens to the rest of the 60?
No, the rest of the 60 does one of the 2. They either spear through, or they get out of the company and start doing something that they love.
That's
right. But a lot of good talent is just swindled because they don't have that necessary oomph to face some of the challenges.
So what are the steps you can take? What can you do to grow thick skin and be? And you also spoke about maturity.
Right. Yeah.
You can't learn maturity. You have to gain it through experience. Maybe there are some shortcuts that you can share.
Let me give you probably 3 examples that I could probably cite from my life and the people that I know, and it's very important. One of the things that you can do in office, and when you're facing a lot of challenges, especially in terms of politics and office politics, is finding a sponsor. That's very important. A lot of people don't spend enough time finding a sponsor. A sponsor in a company is someone who takes care of your interests, right? So he protects you. And that's the first thing you do when you join a multinational or a big company. You find a really big guy and you make him your number 1 friend, right? You
network. Network, like your life depends on it.
And that's possible. Now, I've done it. My friends have done it. They go to a really influential guy and they prove their worth, and they get a sponsor. That's number 1. Number 2, for the first 5 years of your career, don't take credit. Got it. Don't take credit.
That's a good point. I don't think many people know about that.
Yeah, that's important because today the young generation, right? Because they want to brag about it. Right? they want to tell them. They want to post on Facebook. I did this.
Honk their own horn.
Yeah, honk their horn. That's a quick way to probably get your neck chopped off. That's bad, right? So first 5 years, give all the credit to your manager, to your boss. And what that does, it creates a dependency, right? So, for example, if I'm your boss, 99% of the time I will be doing nothing, and you're doing all the work, and you give me the credit, I become dependent on you.
Right.
So it's in my best interest to protect you. And so that's probably the second thing that you can focus on doing, right? And so find a sponsor, you got to then pass the credit. And number 3, the most important principle is the liking principle, or what I call the liking principle. And this is a very important comment. So the liking principle says that people like people who are like them. Okay?
People like people
who are like them.
Who are like them.
And in companies, this is so true. Now, what you have learned and what I have learned is that hard work, dedication, and commitment will make you successful. You can become a managing director, CEO, board of directors. That's what we've learned, right? But in companies, that doesn't happen. Okay? Maybe up until middle management, yes.
All right.
But beyond that, no. So if you want to get into the director board or board of directors, you got to show the people at the top that you are like them. Right.
Wow.
I mean, take this example. Let's say all 3 of us are, board members.
We've got like a board
board members. There are 2 candidates who we want to promote. All right, top position. Now, I'm not talking middleman. I'm talking up there, right?
Okay.
One guy is just like us. He hangs out with us, he knows us, we play golf together, all of that stuff. One guy is pretty different. This guy is not like us. He's very different from the way
But he is hardworking?
Both of these guys are hardworking and qualified. Right? Both of these guys are hardworking and qualified. This guy is different. He has different views, different philosophy, different opinion in life. He's not up to our lifestyle, or not in our lifestyle.
Right.
Who do you think will give the promotion to?
The guy who we like.
Exactly. Who's like us. Because I would want to sit next to a guy. We relate, right? And a lot of people who are highly talented, they don't show the liking principle. They show the exact opposite, that I am different from my boss. I'm different from the top guy in this company. And when you do that, what happens is you're reducing your chances of really getting in with the crowd. Now, I'm not saying you need to, suck up to the boss or that sort of thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have to show that your interests are like the people who run the company.
But doesn't that challenge the mentality of most of the young generation, that they have to be unique and different and not go with the flow?
Yeah. So
because that's the whole Y generation thing that goes on nowadays.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you could challenge the status quo.
Okay.
But not up to the point that it alienates the people who are responsible for promoting.
I think that's a very important point.
No, once you're promoted and you're at the top position, make all the changes you want.
Make all the
changes you want.
Let's do it, Amaya.
And a classic example of this is what happened to Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs got sacked from his own company because his view was very different from what the board was, right? So, so what you need to do is you need to figure out, okay, am I protecting the best interests of the people that are sponsoring me? And you should never go beyond that. And, that way you could really stick to it.
Wow. So this is straight talking. This is saying it like it is.
And I'm pretty sure it's challenging many people out there, even myself, because I'm always told by everyone around me to be different, be not like other people. So I try to be sort of completely different from people around me, and then I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking wrong.
Amaya, that's a good point that you face, and that's great for the people who admire you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the people who admire you are not the people who are promoting you.
That's true.
Right? So you gotta strike this balance where
between the authority is at work and
very
true.
So it's about being smart in the corporate environment, isn't it? It's all about but when it comes to competition, I mean, it can get cutthroat out there.
It is.
And you have your peers who will, undermine your work, and even if you've been there for more than 5 years, so there's always someone else taking your credit.
Right.